Hey guys, Super Godzilla Final Wars here, and today we're back once again with another What If video. Today's What If video is somewhat of a continuation of What If the godzillasaurus was in the Jurassic franchise. Today we're traveling back in time a bit, and we're going to be putting the godzillasaurus in the Jurassic Park movies. From Jurassic World from 1993, Jurassic Park, Jurassic Park, yeah, I said Jurassic Park, I think. Anyways, Jurassic Park, The Lost World, and from 1997 to basically Jurassic Park 3 in 2001. How will the Godzillasaurus change the events of those movies? Let's find out. We already know how the Godzillasaurus changed the events of the Jurassic World movies and series. But what about the OG trilogy? How would he change the events of the OG trilogy? First, let's go to Jurassic Park. What if the Godzillasaurus was in Jurassic Park instead of Jurassic World? Now, let's say that all the events that happened in the movie, like from the prologue to how our heroes got onto the island, that remains the same, except that for one thing, they hear about a lot of reports of people going missing, and of course, weird noises in the middle of the night. And, of course, InGen will be trying to figure out what's going on, because most of these reports are saying that they are hearing about a giant dinosaur with spines on its back, or dorsal plates on its back. Now, InGen would try to locate the godzillasaurus, and when they eventually do locate the godzillasaurus, they are just stumped. They cannot believe what they're seeing. They're seeing a dinosaur that's standing over 15 meters. Because they just never seen anything like it. But of course, John Hammond would want to bring this creature into Jurassic Park, as he thinks it will probably be like possibly the main attraction. The T-Rex could be like the first main attraction. This could be like the second main attraction to the park. So it would take quite some time, but they would eventually tranquilize the Godzillasaurus, and they would try to bring it in to Jurassic Park. Of course, many workers are a little concerned about this, because they don't know what this animal behaves. They don't know what it eats. So by putting it on the island here might be putting the island at risk. Of course, John Hammond will reassure them and tell them that they can just use the electric fences to keep the creature in. But of course, all their cages are nowhere near big enough to put this animal. Like, they're nowhere near big enough to contain this animal. Like, they would need like a lot more time to build a cage that's not only big enough, but strong enough to keep the Godzillasaurus from breaking out. And of course, when our heroes will arrive on the island, they would hear about the massive dinosaur on the mainland. And at first, no one believes it, but after seeing everything on the island, at this point, it would get their attention a little bit. So of course, our heroes would want to see this animal, and when they get a good long look at it, Alan Grant would be the first one out of the group to be like, I don't know what this animal is, but I got a bad feeling about it. Because Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler, despite them being paleontologists, they have never seen an animal like this. This creature will just catch them completely off guard. And of course, Ian Malcolm, he will be the number one person who will be a lot more unsure about it, but possibly very uneasy about it. Like, he'll be very uneasy about this particular dinosaur. Like all the others, he was meh. He was actually meh about the other dinosaurs. But this one is a different story. This Godzillasaurus would basically give him a feeling of like fear, something like fear, but not like just, oh, it's a big bad dinosaur, I gotta be afraid of it. No, this will be a different kind of fear. Basically, this fear that our main hero from Godzilla -1 felt. And of course, the scientists would come and tell John Hammond that this creature has regeneration, like it can regenerate its body parts. And at first, no one will believe it, but until they ran to get a device or a machine that can make a serious wound, and they witnessed the injury healing completely. And now it's just a scar. Or, like, it healed completely. And Dr. Grant will officially be like, okay, I'm not sure if this thing is a dinosaur. Did you create this thing? And John Hamm will be like, no, I didn't even create this thing. I wasn't even aware about it until all those reports on the mainland. And Elliot would actually be very uneasy about this dinosaur. At this point, the Godzillasaurus is making everyone on the island uneasy. In fact, just by bringing the Godzillasaurus, the dinosaurs are uneasy about it. Because they know this is a giant apex predator, and it's like nothing they've ever seen before. Even Rexy, who at this point is a lot more younger, she even feels a little uneasy. But of course, with her being young, she's going to be a little arrogant and try to challenge the Godzillasaurus. But eventually she'll get her ass kicked. So the rest of the scenario continues the exact same way how the film continued. Although our heroes are still very uneasy about the Godzillasaurus. Eventually, it's not Dennis Nedry that causes Jurassic Park to be closed, but the Godzillasaurus, because he would eventually wake up and break out from its enclosure or whatever it is that the humans put him in, and its first instinct is to destroy everything. Like, it just goes on a rampage and eventually causes the power to shut down, and the other dinosaurs eventually break out from their container, from like their enclosures. At this point, John Hammond realized the mistake he made on bringing this animal onto the island. the godzillasaurus will even eventually possibly destroy the visitor center, where John Hammond and the others were at for a short period of time, but they were managed to get out due to like a hidden back door or something that was like in the labs or, you know. They were managed to get out in time, and the godzillasaurus continues its rampage. It's like destroying all the fences, like bringing them down and ripping them apart. And at this point, John Hammond has no other choice but to have security to try to kill this animal. But of course, that will backfire. Because upon firing it, at the godzillasaurus, they would come to realize that the godzillasaurus is basically immune to bullets. It's immune to bullets. So, at this point, John Hammond is left with the ultimate biggest decision of his life. That being to abandon Jurassic Park. At this point, they have no other choice. They gotta abandon it. Of course, he would still want to get his grandkids out of there, and of course, Dr. Grant, Ellie Sattler, and the others out of there. The Velociraptors will still be a problem, and Rexy will probably still be a problem. And, as for a fight between Rexy and the Godzillasaurus, Rexy, with her being a lot more younger, she'll be a lot more arrogant as well, so she'll, at first, want to challenge the Godzillasaurus into a fight, only to get literally destroyed. The Godzillasaurus doesn't kill Rexy, but lets her go with a warning to stay out of his way. At this point, Rexy will just stay out of the Godzillasaurus' way. As long as she stays out of his way, he will let her live. Now, the Velociraptors would still be a problem, well, to the humans, but not to the Godzillasaurus. Well, for now.